Kelsey Mitchell just dropped a truth bomb about Caitlin Clark that nobody saw coming, and the entire WNBA is scrambling to process what she really meant. After years of calculated interviews and polished press conferences, the Indiana Fever veteran finally broke her silence in a way that has fans, analysts, and even her own teammates questioning everything they thought they knew about the dynamic between these two stars. What she revealed wasn't just shocking, it was a masterclass in how to handle the most controversial topic in women's basketball right now. Think about this for a second. When was the last time you heard a veteran player, someone who carried a franchise through its darkest years, openly admit that a rookie completely transformed not just their team, but the entire sport? That's exactly what Mitchell did, and she did it with zero bitterness, zero jealousy, and 100% authenticity. But before we dive into the explosive details of what she said, let me ask you something. Do you think Caitlin Clark has single-handedly saved the WNBA from irrelevance? Drop your thoughts in the comments below because this debate is about to get heated. Mitchell's words hit different because of who she is and what she's endured. This isn't some bench warmer trying to get attention or a rookie looking for clout. This is the woman who averaged over 20 points per game, while her team was winning 5 games in an entire season. She's the one who showed up every night when Gainbridge Fieldhouse was so empty, you could hear individual conversations from the upper deck. For 8 long years, she was basically playing professional basketball in witness protection, grinding through losses, dealing with constant roster changes, and watching as the rest of the league treated games against Indiana like practice sessions. But that wasn't the whole story. What Mitchell revealed goes way deeper than just acknowledging Clark's impact. She essentially admitted something that most veterans would rather take to their graves. She said Clark, quote, changed the world and changed the dynamic of basketball itself, unquote. Those aren't just words. That's a seismic admission from someone who could have easily been bitter about a rookie getting all the attention. Mitchell could have played the victim card, could have talked about how she laid the foundation, how she suffered through the dark years so Clark could walk into a ready-made situation. Instead, she did something that's becoming increasingly rare in professional sports. She told the truth. What happened next would shock everyone who's been following this story. Mitchell didn't stop there. She went on to talk about how certain doors have opened because Clark came to the Fever, and how you have to respect that. But here's where it gets really interesting. She called Clark both a friend and a player she's grown to appreciate. That's not typical teammate talk. That's someone who's been through the wars acknowledging that the reinforcements have finally arrived and they're better than anyone could have imagined. The timing of Mitchell's comments is crucial to understand. This is January 2025, and the Fever are coming off their best season in years, making it to the semifinals before falling to the Connecticut Sun. Clark just finished a rookie season that rewrote the record books, averaging 19.2 points and 8.4 assists per game. She broke the rookie assist record, led all rookies in scoring, and turned the Fever from league laughingstock to must-see TV. Every game was sold out, merchandise sales went through the roof, and suddenly everyone wanted to talk about Indiana basketball. That's the context Mitchell was speaking from. Not jealousy, but genuine appreciation for what this transformation means. But here's what nobody's talking about, and it's the most fascinating part of Mitchell's revelation. She's essentially confirming what many suspected, but few would say out loud. The WNBA needed Caitlin Clark more than Caitlin Clark needed the WNBA. Mitchell's been in the league long enough to know the truth about attendance numbers, TV ratings, and general interest before Clark arrived. She's seen teammates leave for overseas because the money was better, watched franchises struggle to fill arenas, and dealt with the reality that most sports fans couldn't name 5 WNBA players if their life depended on it. Then Clark shows up, and suddenly the league is trending on social media daily, games are on national television, and people who never watched women's basketball are buying jerseys. The most shocking part of Mitchell's comments wasn't what she said, it was what she didn't say. There was no mention of the controversy that's been swirling around Clark all season. No reference to the hard fouls, the trash talk from opponents, or the way certain veterans seemed determined to put the rookie in her place. Mitchell could have easily played both sides, could have thrown in some comment about Clark needing to earn her stripes or pay her dues. Instead, she went full support mode, talking about how Clark accepted everything with grace and welcomed her teammates with open arms to make this thing happen. What makes this even more powerful is understanding Mitchell's journey to this moment. In 2017, she was drafted second overall by Indiana, right behind Kelsey Plum. The Fever were supposed to be building something special, but instead, they became the league's doormat. Mitchell watched coaches get fired, general managers get replaced, and teammates come and go like it was a revolving door. She scored over 3,000 points in her first 4 seasons, and the team won a combined 31 games. That's not basketball. That's psychological torture disguised as professional sports. If you're enjoying this breakdown of one of the biggest stories in the WNBA right now, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more exclusive content. We're diving deep into stories the mainstream media won't touch. And trust me, what's coming next is gonna blow your mind. Mitchell's statement becomes even more significant when you consider what's happening around the league right now. Other veterans have been taking subtle and not so subtle shots at Clark all season. From hard fouls that looked more like football tackles to post-game comments that questioned whether Clark deserved all the attention, there's been a clear divide between the old guard and the new sensation. Mitchell could have joined that chorus, could have protected her own legacy by diminishing Clark's impact. Instead, she did the opposite. And that's why her words are resonating so strongly. The real genius of Mitchell's approach is how she managed to elevate Clark while simultaneously cementing her own legacy. She reminded everyone that she was there before Clark, grinding through those terrible seasons, keeping the franchise alive when nobody cared. She's the bridge between the old Fever and the new, the veteran who earned her stripes the hard way and now gets to enjoy the fruits of that labor. By acknowledging Clark's transformative impact, she's actually enhancing her own story. She becomes the wise veteran who recognizes greatness, not the bitter has-been trying to protect her territory. But that wasn't the whole story of what Mitchell revealed. She also talked about the other pieces that came together to make this magical season possible. She mentioned Lexi Hull, Aaliyah Boston, and the organizational commitment to rebuilding. This wasn't just about Clark. It was about timing, preparation, and having the right pieces in place when the generational talent arrived. Mitchell's been around long enough to know that one player, no matter how great, can't transform a franchise alone. You need the right coach, the right supporting cast, and the right organizational culture. The Fever finally had all of that when Clark arrived. What's fascinating is how Mitchell's comments have shifted the entire narrative around the Fever. For years, they were the team nobody wanted to play for. The franchise players tried to avoid in the draft. The organization that seemed cursed to perpetual failure. Now, thanks to Clark's arrival and Mitchell's validation of her impact, they're the most interesting team in the league. Free agents are going to want to play there, young players are going to dream of being drafted there, and fans are going to plan vacations around seeing games there. That's a complete 180 from where this franchise was just 2 years ago. The timing of Mitchell's statement is also significant given what's happening with the new unrivaled league and the ongoing discussions about player salaries and league growth. Clark's impact has sparked conversations about raising the salary cap, expanding the league, and increasing marketing efforts. Mitchell, as one of the league's established stars, could have been threatened by this rapid change. Instead, she's embracing it, understanding that a rising tide lifts all boats. Her comments suggest she gets that Clark's popularity isn't taking anything away from other players. It's creating opportunities that didn't exist before. Here's something else to consider about Mitchell's revelation. She's essentially confirmed what the numbers have been screaming all season. Fever games averaged over 17,000 fans at home, nearly triple what they were drawing before Clark arrived. Road games featuring Indiana sold out in markets that usually struggled to fill half their arena. The Fever went from having 0 nationally televised games to being featured constantly on ESPN and other major networks. Merchandise sales increased by over 500%. These aren't just improvements, they're transformational changes that typically take decades to achieve, not one season. Mitchell's comments also shed light on the locker room dynamic that many have been curious about. There were whispers early in the season about potential jealousy, about veterans not accepting the rookie sensation, about Clark being isolated from her teammates. Mitchell's words paint a completely different picture. She talks about Clark welcoming everyone with open arms, about growing to appreciate her as both a friend and a player. This suggests that whatever tensions might have existed initially have been resolved, and the team has genuinely come together around their shared success. What happened next in Mitchell's interview was equally revealing. She talked about giving Clark grace, about recognizing that she's done things not a lot of people can do. This is a veteran acknowledging that what Clark has accomplished isn't normal, isn't typical, and deserves to be celebrated rather than diminished. In a league where veterans often try to humble rookies, where there's an unwritten code about paying your dues, Mitchell is essentially saying that Clark has already paid them through her impact on the game. The broader implications of Mitchell's statement can't be ignored. She's essentially giving other veterans permission to embrace Clark rather than resist her. By being so publicly supportive, by acknowledging the obvious truth about Clark's impact, she's making it harder for others to continue their petty resistance. Mitchell has credibility that few others possess because she's been through the worst of it. When she says Clark changed everything, people have to listen because she was there when everything needed changing. But here's the part that's really going to shock you. Mitchell's comments might actually be part of a larger strategy to keep Clark in Indiana long-term. By publicly embracing her, by creating a supportive environment, by acknowledging her greatness, while also establishing her own legacy, Mitchell is helping build the kind of culture that makes superstar players want to stay. The WNBA has a history of stars leaving for better opportunities overseas or demanding trades to bigger markets. Mitchell seems to understand that keeping Clark happy and supported in Indiana is crucial for the franchise's continued success. The reaction to Mitchell's comments has been overwhelmingly positive, but it's also exposed some uncomfortable truths about the league. Why did it take a rookie to transform a franchise that had been struggling for years? Why weren't the existing stars able to generate this kind of interest? These are questions the league needs to answer as it moves forward. Mitchell's honesty has opened up a conversation that goes beyond just Clark and the Fever. It's about the future of women's professional basketball and what it takes to truly capture the public's attention. What makes Mitchell's revelation even more powerful is what we know about her personality. She's not someone who seeks the spotlight, not someone who makes dramatic statements for attention. She's been consistently professional, consistently excellent, and consistently overlooked throughout her career. For her to speak this openly, this honestly about Clark's impact suggests she felt it needed to be said. Maybe she was tired of the coded language, the subtle shade, the refusal to acknowledge what everyone could see. Whatever her motivation, her words have changed the conversation. As we wrap up this incredible story, it's worth considering what Mitchell's comments mean for the future. She set a precedent for how veterans should handle generational talents joining their teams. Instead of resistance, embrace them. Instead of jealousy, show appreciation. Instead of protecting your own legacy at all costs, understand that being part of something transformational enhances rather than diminishes your own story. Mitchell gets this, and her words suggest she's going to be a crucial part of Indiana's continued success. The truth is, Kelsey Mitchell just did something that rarely happens in professional sports. She told the unvarnished truth about a teammate's impact without diminishing her own contributions. She acknowledged that Caitlin Clark has fundamentally changed not just the Fever, but the entire landscape of women's basketball. And she did it with grace, wisdom, and the kind of authenticity that's becoming increasingly rare in professional sports. That's why her words matter. That's why people are still talking about them. And that's why this might be the most important statement made by any WNBA player this season. What do you think about Mitchell's shocking revelation? Was she right to be so honest about Clark's impact, or should she have protected her own legacy more? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more exclusive WNBA content that goes deeper than anyone else dares to go. The story of Clark, Mitchell, and the Fever's transformation is far from over, and you won't want to miss what happens next.